Welcome to the Bear Talk, your go-to Chicago Bears podcast, where a father and son break down all things Bears. From Soldier Field to Sunday showdowns, I'm your host, Dylan Weaver, and as always, joined here by my dad. How you doing, Dad?
Doing great, Dill. How you doing this week? We got another week of Bears football, and this is the game where the stadium would come in clutch because it looks like it's going to be a blustery one up there in the Windy City. 24 mile per hour winds coming out of the northwest, and potential for a dusting, a little frozen precipitation, if you will. What say you about this week's matchup?
Yeah, no, the weather's definitely going to play a factor. However, when the weather really wasn't playing in our factor, about 4 weeks ago against Washington, this is going to fit right into the Bears' hands as far as their strengths go, and it fits into the Giants' weaknesses, which is their run defense, which we'll break that down later in this episode. But definitely good to be back at home for the Bears. It seems like they've been on the road for quite some time, dealing with away fans. So I'm sure Bears fans at Soldier Field this weekend are going to be roaring like I was last week at Cincinnati Stadium. But should be another good game that the Bears need a win to prove that they are past the trajectory of just being this bad/mediocre team. These are games where you got to take care of business. So excited for the matchup nonetheless.
Yeah, you know what I say, wins cure all. And the media this week has been very favorable in the Bears and the Caleb Williams era of football. So get another one, and there's no stress when it comes to the media.
Yeah, I mean, Colin Coward, the man that is back and forth every week with Caleb. He's back on the hype train with Caleb. That he looks really good, and if I had to redraft quarterbacks today, I'm going Drake May, then Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels after. So, it's a week to week league, as most fans take it to. Where I feel like I like to look at it from an outside perspective of just looking at all the games put together, and that's what I'm going to do come the end of the season, whether the Bears miss the playoffs, make the playoffs. You got to evaluate the whole year when looking at it. It's not a week to week thing. Um, Even the good teams have bad games and matchups that, they should win. They end up losing, not performing as good. It happens. But so far, I released a graphic on our Twitter page yesterday, just with some of the stats, kind of the checkup of, Caleb Williams through 8 games compared to last year to this year. And everything is trending in the right direction. The only one that's identical is that completion percentage. He's sitting right at a 61.5%. And if I do have any complaints about Caleb, that is the one thing. And I think I voiced that, quite enough on this show, that I would like to see that, more towards north of 65%. If we can get it somewhere around there, that would be amazing. But definitely the one thing I feel like he needs to work on. Everything else, though, it's been major improvements all across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add to that, right? I mean, you look at that completion percentage. He is, I'm sure on the hard throws, his completion percentage is through the roof, right? It's the
Exactly.
basics, right? It's the little bitty, the dinks and the doinks that we got to work on. So, I mean, if he's mastering, some elite pass offense where he's going there, and we just got to worry on mastering the basics. I feel pretty good about the overall productivity of Caleb Williams and this Bears team. Especially, we're really entering that sweet spot you talked about earlier in the year, where they really start to kick. And we'll see what happens this week against a 2-7 Giants team coming in. That's a little banged up, right? Their offense is not there. I've been a big fan of the Cam Scattaboo and the Jaxson Dart. I know you're giving me the side eye, but Cam's out. We'll see what Tyrone does in there, but Jaxson Dart's no slouch himself. I've been pretty impressed with him this year.
I will give you credit on that. I do think Jaxson Dart he's brought life to that New York team he plays with, that swagger. I'm sure we'll see it tomorrow, especially if they get momentum in their favor. But he's a hard guy to root against for sure, because he just goes out there and you can tell he puts his all on the field and gives everything he has to try to go win a football team. And I will say it. I do think New York found their quarterback for the future for some time to come, because he's brought a bunch of spark to that team. And honestly, what he is doing without Malik Neighbors and Cam Scadaboo, he barely has any people to throw the ball to, and he's doing a hell of a job. So props to him, for sure. It's just more so the Cam Skadby, which I like him too. He's got a good personality as well. Just
Can you say that again?
He's got a good personality. He's
No, the other part.
What?
I like Cam Skadby.
I don't like him. I'm not. I mean, there was a bunch of Bears fans wanting to draft him as a running back. I think Kyle Monangai is doing just fine because he's about 70 yards behind him with like four less games and probably 100 less carries. So the 7th round pick, Ryan Poles has definitely struggled later in drafts once it gets past those first 2 rounds. But that pick so far is looking like an amazing pick, especially coming from the 7th round. And, speaking of that, it might be Kyle Monangai again this week. DeAndre Swift is questionable. He was a full-time participant Thursday, but then Friday, some personal issues popped up. He didn't practice at all. So I don't know what's going on there. There hasn't been any reports specifically about what that personal issue is, but it might be a Kyle Monangai show again, back-to-back weeks.
I would be okay with that. It's based off of what we've seen out of Kyle Monangai over the last couple of weeks, and I think Ben Johnson and Doyle, they'll be wanting to run that 1-2, the Sonic and Knuckles, the Lightning and Thunder kind of running back tandem. But last week he did a great job, kind of solely on his own and the game he had. So it'll be interesting though. I mean, he's going up against a different defensive line this week. So that'll be a big tail. And then you kind of look at it too. I know Theo's been holding his own over there on that left side, but he's got a big challenge ahead of him this week over there to see what he can do. So a lot of key things to watch in this game, and it'll be a lot of fun and definitely enjoyable game to watch. But we can't sleep on this one. This one's going to be a tough one.
No, I agree. I feel like a lot of people are overlooking it as well, thinking, it should be an easy matchup. But the Giants, if you do look at them, they've beat the Eagles with literally no Malik Neighbors either in that game. They've should have beat the Broncos, but let them score 33 points in the 4th quarter to let them end up losing that game. But the Giants, that is the one thing, they will hang with teams if you let them, and it's going to be. It kind of reminds me a lot of the Saints game a couple weeks ago where, we took care of business for the first half until the second half. We let them back into the game. And with the Saints, you can probably get away with that. With the Giants, though, I wouldn't want them to be close come the end of the game. I want to be up at least 2 scores come late in that game. And then instead of last week, being up 2 scores and letting the other team take the lead, I want to see the defense close this game out and win pretty decisively. But, as we do on our shows, on our pregame shows, we're going to go over the injury report first before we break down the offense and defense side of it. So we'll start Bears injury report. Pretty good one this week. It started off with another laundry list, but only 3 people out for sure. TJ Edwards, he did just have hand surgery. However, that's not what's keeping him out of this game. He's dealing with that hamstring once again. He's not going to be playing. But Ben Johnson did make it clear the last time he had the hamstring, they put him on IR. They said this time they don't expect it to be that. So I think they're just going to let him sit out this week and get him ready to go for next week in the divisional matchup against the Vikings. But he will be out. Josh Blackwell, big special teams guy and cornerback depth, which you never know what could happen. Our cornerbacks have been getting pretty banged up as well, but he's out with a concussion. So he will not be playing. And then Dominique Robinson, back-to-back weeks, still dealing with that high ankle sprain. He is going to be out as well. And then, like I said, 2 people questionable, one of them being DeAndre Swift with that personal reason. If that personal reason isn't anything too crazy, I'm sure he will be playing in the game because he was a full participant Thursday. It really just comes down to what that personal reason is for. Hopefully everything's all right with him. Durham Smythe, the backup tight end that comes in occasionally, especially when Cole Kmet has went down, or vice versa when Colson Loveland has went down. He is questionable as well with the calf injury. But the 3 people for the Bears that are definitely out is going to be Edwards, Blackwell, and Robinson. All defensive players. I will say that's probably the one thing with the offense. They've stayed healthy for the majority of the part. No crazy long-term injuries. But this defense knock on wood. This defense, though, they keep taking some pretty big hits. So our offense is going to have to keep improving like they have been, honestly, from start to finish of the season. There's been ups and downs, but for the most part, they keep trending upwards, and we're going to need them this game. But let's hop over to the Giants side of it. You thought the Bears had a laundry list. Well, the Giants had a pretty long one as well, and a lot of people out for them. Their starting kicker, Graham Gano, he is out. He's been a long-term kicker um, for the New York Giants. He's out dealing with a neck injury. They got Younghoe Koo, who the Falcons dropped earlier this year. Kind of similar story with the Bears, how the 49ers dropped Jake Moody. We picked him up. They did the same thing. They picked up Younghoe Koo, who kind of same thing, very highly stout, highly drafted kicker, and just was starting to not be as promising. Gets a new start with the Giants, which honestly, with those wins you were talking about, I don't know how much this field goal kicker is really going to matter. I mean, it definitely could matter. But with those wins, it's going to be hard to kick field goals. One of their linemen, John Schmitz, he's out as well with a shin injury. Bo Collins looks like maybe a receiver that was going to fill in. He's out. Just trying to think. There's quite a few, but as far as I think this is one of their starters. Paulson Adebo, their cornerback, he's out with a knee injury. But other than that, I think that is it out as far as the main people go for their team. Javon Holland, their safety, that is a big person. He is questionable with a knee injury. He's missed quite a few games. Definitely was trying to return this week. He is questionable, so we will see if he plays. That is a huge help for their defense. Kind of veteran safety, but he is questionable as well. On the injury side for the Bears, anything scare you in particular?
No, I mean we've been dealing with injuries on the defensive side for the Bears since week one, so nothing really scares me. It'll be interesting to see the progression though of Gardner, see how he continues to blend in with that unit out there, and how another week of him in practice with the team, and how he blends with that. So that'd be the biggest thing I'd be looking at. The other kicker is though too Austin Booker, right? We talked about. Ramalama Ding Dong now is on out injured reserve for the year. Austin Booker's filling in. We did see what he did last week and got that sack, so I'd like to see a continuation of that. And obviously, we picked up right before the trade deadline the DN from the
I
Browns.
got you. Yeah, Joe Tryron Shoyinka. Long
Yep.
name there, but he was a first overall pick for the Bucks after their Super Bowl year. He had a really good season his last year of the contract with them, had 5 or 6 sacks, getting a lot of pressure. And then in this past season, the Bucks decided not to give him the second-year contract. That's where Cleveland picked him up, and he's only played 31 snaps in Cleveland. They do have a good defensive line. So the one bright side of him is he's going to be on a fresh tank, ready to go, and we'll see what he can do. He's a huge D lineman. I think he's 6'7", very tall and lengthy. It'll be interesting. He's got a lot of speed to him, kind of like Austin Booker. So I think Austin Booker, though, is going to get his full chance at starting. He's going to be in there quite a bit, and honestly, what we saw out of him last week in his first game of the season. So definitely we'll be excited to see if he can keep that pace up. And then like we've been talking about the past couple post-game shows, Montez Sweat is starting to come into form, like that first year when we got him over here from Washington. So you absolutely love to see that. And I think that's just due to, Montez is starting to find his way in this scheme of defense. And, Dennis Allen, props to him. He's been dealing with injuries left and right. And outside, I would say, of last game, he's kind of kept it under control. Last game was the first time where it was like, okay, we gotta do something different. And I expect that the one thing with this team is whatever the problem is last week, they always seem to fix it the following week. Yeah, another problem might pop up after the game when watching it, but they're really good at fixing stuff that happened the prior week and it looking a lot better the following week. So
in fact, last weekend I was at Chuck E. Cheese. I think I saw Dennis Allen there. He's playing whack-a-mole because everything keeps popping up and he's just whacking it down.
Yeah, no, he definitely has been having to adjust on the fly. It's definitely cool to see that, that's what I'm saying. When we get this unit back, these next three to 4 games are really important because Jalen Johnson is estimated to come back December. And if we can get him back, that is the first game we play against the Packers. If we can get Johnson back for that game and those last 4 or 5 games of the season have Jalen Johnson back, it could be something special. And that's when we would want our players, because that's when our schedule gets pretty hard down the stretch, and you're going to have to find a way to win some of those games if you want a chance at the playoffs. But nonetheless, I do think, we haven't given Dennis Allen. We've given him credit, but I don't think we've given him enough credit for all the stuff he's been dealing with on the defense side of injuries. Every week he's got to change up a game plan and a scheme based on personnel. So huge props to him, but I do want to see the defense turn it around this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to have one of those games where there's 2 minutes left and the opposing team scoring 2 touchdowns rather quickly. While I did enjoy watching Caleb, deliver the game-winning drive and Colston Loveland, up the middle for a touchdown, that's super exciting. In too many years with the Bears, that could have went the other way. So let's have the defense do their job, offense do their job, and special teams, for the love of God, quit giving the short field, right? You got to stop that.
Yeah.
And then we should have a good game.
Yeah. No, as far as the injuries go, the one guy that concerns me obviously is TJ Edwards. He's the main starter that is out, and Noah Sewell is really good in the run defense, but the passing defense is where he often struggles. But I have liked what I've seen out of him, Noah Sewell, so far. But I think TJ Edwards is the big hit to this defense. But hopefully this is just them playing it safe for this week and get him back in there ready to go for next week. Either way, though, for the next couple of games, we will probably see TJ Edwards in that big old club. He had hand surgery on something of his hand, but you got to love linebackers. They're so tough out there. They just wrap it up. Yep, I'm going out there. It also is it is a little bit of an advantage when you got those clubs on, because when you're punching the ball, you punch and you don't feel it. So you can seriously go all out. And it is a very, it's a good weapon to have when you're trying to peanut punch that ball out. But I think for me, the biggest loss is obviously no TJ Edwards this week. Noah Sewell, though, when he's had to step up, he's played great. Just need to see him better in the passing game. But like you said, I don't know how many deep balls we really are going to see in this game with those wins like that. Especially, it's going to be a lot of shorter underneath stuff, which does concern me a little bit, because that's what the Ravens were doing to us a couple weeks ago, and it just continued to keep on happening. We really couldn't knock balls down or play tight coverage, but that was also without CJ Gardner-Johnson being there. Tyreek Stevenson was a little banged up in that game.
I think he went out in the game, didn't he?
A couple, I think a series or two for sure. He went out, but nonetheless, we do got Gardner-Johnson, which does make me feel a lot better. And these receivers outside of Wan'Dale Robinson, I mean, you should be able to play pretty good defense. And if our passing defense doesn't look good this week, there's going to be some red flags going forward, because these are not elite receivers. Wan'Dale Robinson is more of he's going to catch a lot of underneath stuff. And if you're not paying attention, he can take stuff to the house. He's a very fast little receiver but he's got moves. So that's the one guy I'm really worried about. Keep someone on him underneath. And other than that, though, let Jaxson Dart throw the ball on these wins, because this ball is probably going to be going all over the place. And their run game is not good. Outside of, I would probably say Jaxson Dart. He does like to pull the ball down. They run a lot of RPOs, kind of college style offense with him, and he will run the ball. But other than that, it should be a pretty one-dimensional game for this Bears defense, and they should be able to tee off on it. I feel really confident about the defense. They just got to keep everything in front of them, and I think it'll be a pretty good day for this Bears defense.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be exciting. And I would say, we do talk, and I know we're about to switch over to the offense, right? But so many of the Bears fans give Caleb a hard time, and, the different things that's going on there. But I haven't heard anything in the media about Jaxson Dart crying on the sidelines just a week ago. So again, the media, leave Caleb alone. Let's encourage him. Let him do his job. But that was quite a sight to see, with Jaxson with his head in his hands, kind of letting it all out on the sidelines there. But not one peep from the media.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I say, us Bears fans need to just worry about Caleb. Who cares about the comparisons? Who cares? The national media, you're obviously going to hear him, but at the end of the day, let's just root on our Bears, worry about our team. Don't need to worry about anything else. Let's control what we can control, type of deal. But Yeah, the defense, like I said, I don't know if you've got any pointers, but really it all is just keep the run game limited for them. They're not a good running offense, and then let them pass the ball in these wins. Should probably see a bunch of takeaways tomorrow. Honestly, could be from both teams, to be honest, with the win, because if you're throwing the ball and there are gust of winds, you will see that ball start going directions it shouldn't be going. Um, it's going to be a lot short underneath stuff, so got to take care of business tackling, not missing tackles, and letting plays go long for longer yards than they should, really. But other than that, I think the main point of the thing, like I said, is keep Jaxson Dart in the pocket. He's going to try to scramble, make sure you have those lanes closed off. And I'm sure Dennis Allen is smart, but we need a linebacker spying almost every play, because just in case he does run, so he's not getting these longer runs, you at least are having a spy on him that could chase him down, make him slide. Or, Jaxson Dart does like to lower his shoulder, which I think I'd give him some advice. Having Justin Fields here, seeing Jaden Daniels, go down, man. Just take the slide. It's all right to run, but go down. You don't need to try running people over. If you want a long career in this league, it's pretty obvious that you need to take less hits as a quarterback, because those hits will start adding up and it'll cause you to miss games.
Yeah. I think this might be a great game for Stevenson and Baird out in the backfield there. Probably continuing the game of takeaways. I know everyone's been talking about how it's been luck, right? And I'll take being lucky any day over talent. So, let that Bears defense continue to do what it's doing, takeaways, and we'll march that ball down the field, get a pick six.
I was about to say, outside of that Ravens game, we've still been having 3 takeaways. A lot of people forget we had 3 takeaways last week. Granted, one of them was on a Hail Mary at the end of the game, but there were
Yep.
still also 2 normal takeaways in that game that happened. It has kind of been the Bears defense identity, and I'm pretty sure we still do lead the league in turnovers or takeaways. I know Kevin Byard and Tremaine Edmonds are both tied for first in interceptions in the league, which you love to see. And
Yeah.
Nashawn Wright is in second place with 3 of them. So his Bears defense is definitely finding ways to take the ball away, and I expect there will definitely be some takeaways tomorrow for sure, especially if the Bears go up early and they do have to start passing in this wind. It will 100% start happening. It's hard to throw accurate balls when those winds are happening, but I don't think there's too much to worry about with the defense. I think most of the worries come in this game is with the offense and this D line that the Giants do present. So we'll switch over to the offensive side of it. This Giants team, for an amazing as a D line they do have, their running defense is 31st in the league. They're right behind the Bengals that we just played. For some reason, they have an elite, and I mean elite D line. They
Mm-hmm.
have Abdul Carter as a backup rotational piece because how elite their D line is. And for whatever reason, they don't want to tackle when it comes to the run game. They all just want to run after the quarterback, which is where they excel at. So we definitely need to just run the ball down their throats and then open up passing game stuff off of that, the heavy play action. If we come one-dimensional passing, this is going to be a long game. Because these pass rushers, they get home, and they have the leading sack leader on their team in Brian Burns, 11 sacks on the season already.
Mm-hmm.
Not even halfway through the season, about to be after this game, and he's at 11 sacks already. He's having quite a season this year for the Giants. So my key to this game for this offense is run, run, and run. And I think this is going to be a lower stat line for Caleb Williams, but if the running game is clicking, I don't care. The
Yeah.
media might chew him up, but on top of it, when you add in the wind and all that stuff, it's going to be hard to be throwing for 300 yards in this game. I think it's going to be a lot lower of a stat line tomorrow, but if we're running the ball just like we were last week and we come out with a win, I'm not going to complain or criticize Caleb.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. One thing I think about with this game, and you mentioned Burns there with the 11 sacks, is I hope Caleb and Johnson have been having a discussion about this game and really relying on that run game. And Caleb is great at eluding pressure, right? He does a great
Say
job of.
he's first in the league, and he's at a 4 point something percent, which is the first in the NFL for sack of like sacks. They pretty much stat it as like plays that should have been sacks where the quarterback eludes and gets out of it. He leads it with 4 point something percent. It's incredible. I don't know how he does it. He is like a magician back there, and
Yeah.
he's really quick and decisive. He doesn't sit there and keep his head down. He makes a move and goes.
Yeah, this will be the game though that I don't want him to do a lot of dancing in the backfield where they get the pressure to him and potentially cause injury to him. Because this is a
Yeah.
game you get a 2-7 team coming in, they don't really have anything to play for, and bad things happen coming against a Bears team. So, Caleb, be smart, right? Get rid of the ball right away. Don't be holding on to it. Don't try to extend plays because the last thing I want to see is a Jaden Daniels dislocated elbow or any of the injuries that are going on out there. I mean, he's the franchise. So run the ball, protect Caleb Williams. That's my key takeaway for the offense this week. And
Yeah.
Darnell Wright, man, I mean, I've watched that game from last week probably 3 or 4 times now. And that offensive line, what an amazing job they did last week. So let's just see that continue. Run the ball, protect Caleb, and don't do anything crazy.
Yeah, I agree. You're definitely still going to have to pass at times, but that's what I'm saying. Run ball first, set up the play action where, we're beating them so bad on the run that when we do pass it, they're not expecting it. It gives Caleb the extra time and do a lot of short underneath stuff. I don't see this ball going deep down the field in this wind. There's no way it'll get lofted up there and get blown around for safeties to come down with picks, especially on deep balls. So I think we're going to see a lot of crossing routes, a lot of, stick routes, a lot of out routes, nothing too crazy deep downfield. But it's definitely the key. And I don't think last week we touched on enough about the O-line. I was obviously at the game, so I didn't get to see the broadcast view, but those blocks that they were showing replays on TV when I watched it back the next day,
Ridiculous.
I mean, there's another one where Theo Benedict has a blindside block from the movie. He drove the guy all the way to the sidelines and threw him to the ground. And
Yeah.
the funniest thing is Ben Johnson sees him, he steps out of the way, and he's already calling the next play in his mic. It's crazy.
Expectations.
Yeah, it's not a surprise to Ben Johnson. He's just got that same stoic look. I think he did peek behind a little bit and just looked, and then he's calling the next play. But Darnell Wright and Theo Benedict in the run game, especially Darnell Wright. I mean, last week, the main block everyone saw, and it's been surfacing Twitter this week, is that one on 4th and 1. He takes their first-round pick, Shamar Turner, for a ride all the way across the field. And the worst part is he blocks him right into DJ Moore's legs. I'm like, oh my, that's the stuff that receivers are like, come on, man. I'm just trying to block. The ball's in the other direction. How am I getting rolled up on? But luckily, DJ was all right. But I agree. It's got to be run, pass, run, pass. And like I said, I don't think Caleb's going to have a crazy numbers day tomorrow. I can honestly see him under 200 yards. But if it's because we're running the ball that good, who cares? I really don't care.
If it's running the ball well and he's efficient on the minimal passes that he has due to the weather, have a day.
Yeah.
Have a day.
It'll definitely hurt. It'll set him a little bit behind of that 4,000 yards that he's on pace for. But hey,
Let's
at the end of
think
the
about
day,
it.
yeah, I'd rather take the
4,000
playoffs.
wins
Yeah, I'll
or
take
W's. I'm taking
Yeah.
W's.
I agree.
Because we really need to win these next 3 games, right? You got 4 games coming up. You think about it, the Eagles game is going to be a tough one, right? They're playing in Lincoln Financial. It's on Black Friday. That one's going to be a tough one. But if
Don't
we could
hold
take
me to
3,
this now, but I do think the Bears are going to find a way to win that Eagles game. The Eagles have not been the same Eagles this year. They haven't. They simply haven't.
Then they're taking 4 out of 4.
I think they still go 3-1. That you're going to hate me for saying this, but the game I do have them losing, where I think it's going to surprise everyone. I think, as much as it pains me to say this too, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come to Soldier Field and he's going to tear us up. But I do, like Ben Johnson said this week, they got to find a way to go 3-1 in this next stretch of 4 games. And I agree. I couldn't agree more. You have to go 3-1. That'll put you at 8-4 heading into the last 5 games of the season. And you got to find a way to win 2 of those. You win 3 of those 5, you're definitely going to be finding your way into the playoffs. But you got to. You do not want to get down to a tiebreaker because let's win and be in, and we don't have week 18. Let's go to a game week 18 where it really doesn't matter, maybe outside of seeding, but we're already locked in the playoffs. I'd love that. I don't want to, but as the season's going, as the NFC side of the playoff is going, I think it is a lot of NFC games week 18 are going to be win or you're out type of deal. I really do feel like that. And we got the Lions.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. Obviously, we're excited the Bears season that they're having and the run we're kind of on here. But if you're telling me you think they find a way to beat the Eagles, then we could go 4 for 4. And you know what that means?
4 for 4 would put you at 9-2 or 9-3.
You know what that means? It means 14-3 is still alive.
Yeah, well, you said
I said
15-2, but
I'm off by 1. You said what? 9-7 or
no, 10-7.
10-7. So I'm
which
closer.
I think is a lot more realistic. Honestly,
that's safe. You're hedging your bet.
I'm not hedging it. That's what I said from the start of the season.
You're hedging it. You're
I'm not hedging it. I just think that is reality. I do. This back half of the schedule is tough, but
it's
if we can get, like
ridiculous.
I said, I do agree with you. If we got to go 3-1 in this stretch because Jalen Johnson will be back that first game of that Packers game. It looks like he's already in the building. He's rehabbing. Think he will be back. And if we get Jalen Johnson back we would have two Packers divisional matchups, the Cleveland Browns, the San Francisco 49ers, then the Lions week 18. If we can have the whole defensive unit back, knock on wood, there's still plenty of games where other people can end up getting injured. But if we're healthy towards the end of the season, I would take all those injuries that happen in the beginning if we're healthy down the stretch, because those are the games where we're going to need every single body, every single player ready to go, and those are the games where we're really going to find out what this Bears team is about. We've won, we are 5-3, but there are some asterisks on that. They're all pretty much have been to below 500 or right at 500 teams, which, hey, it's not the Bears' fault. You play who's on your schedule, but to really see what this team is about is going to be these back half of the schedule matchups. And they're all starting to come up here. I mean, even the Vikings next week, they had a huge win against the Lions last week. Somehow JJ McCarthy throws for another 140 yards, only 14 completions, and wins a ball game. I don't get it. It's definitely not sustainable down the stretch. But there are some tough games. The Steelers are a good team. They're in first over there in their division. They had a big win against the Colts last week. And then obviously, like you said, the Eagles. There's a lot of tough games coming up. And this,
but you're telling me we're going to beat the Eagles.
I really do. I really do feel like that game. It's also going to be prime time, only game on, and they know the lights are on.
Yeah, this is what I'm hearing though.
And that will send, additionally though, that will send a message to Packers. The Packers play them this week, and I'm not saying anything, but we'll play the Packers the week after that Eagles game. You win that game, you send a message to those Packers, and okay, yep, they're a different team. And I mean, it's already obvious they're a different team with Ben Johnson. The stats are night and day, especially on the offensive side of the ball. It's not even close. And we brought Ben Johnson.
Stats are amazing.
The top 5 offense right now, statistically. You can't argue with it.
That's what I'm saying. The stat numbers.
Every stat category, they're third in the league in rushing yards. They're second in the league in rush yards per carry. They're fifth in the league in points per game, like third in the league yards per game. Like, this offense is legit.
It's the greatest show on turf. And it's not even Mike Martz. We got Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson is going to be a Chicago savior. That's for sure. He could easily go down as I was about to say. He's got a long career ahead of him, but if he keeps this trajectory up, I mean, there'll be a statue built for him one day for sure. I really believe it. This guy, to do this just through 8 games is remarkable. It's a night and day difference.
Mm-hmm.
It really is night and day. When have we seen an offense? They're averaging 28 points put up per game. Our offense struggles to get to 17 points the past 8 years. It's like there'd be games last year we'd watch and we knew the team hit 20 points. We knew we lost because our offense could never put up 20 points. Every year we
on the
knew that.
Defense to minimize that. So I mean, I'm hearing you come around to my higher win total. So 14-3 is sounding pretty good, and that would be a remarkable season. for the Bears.
I will say if they find a way to go 3-1 or 4-0 in these next 4 games, I will start coming up there with you because it'll definitely be possible. But I feel like that game that's circled for me at the moment is that Eagles game. And if they can win that, it will flip a different, that locker room's already at a pretty high. It will get them to that next level of delusional confidence that they could seriously beat anybody, which is what you want.
Yeah,
you want that confidence that you can absolutely go in there and play. And I do believe it too. Outside of that Lions game week 2, which was very early in the season, this team I feel like can hang. Like I think a lot of people on the national media are even starting to say now too, the Bears can hang with these teams. It's just a matter of winning or losing it, but they can definitely hang and hold their own for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a key component here, right, is you talk about peaking at the right time. Any leader or coach or whatever wants to get their team in a position to peak at the right time. If he can hold the upward trajectory and do the things we need to do, continue to impact offensively, defense continues to get healthier and holds down scores, they could peak at the right time for that Eagles game and pull that win off like you're talking about. Not to mention the Eagles could have some injuries too in between now and then. And Saquon, Jalen, they haven't been the team they were last year. I mean, that'll be a pretty exciting game. And by the way, I think Netflix made that game free. Was it Netflix or Prime?
Yeah,
Prime.
it's one of
Prime.
them, but it's free
It's
everywhere. You don't
free
even
everywhere,
need to have a
worldwide.
subscription. It's
So it's gonna be not only a national game, it is gonna be a
worldwide.
worldwide
Yeah.
game. That if you win that game, all eyes are on you.
Yeah.
And we may be looking at Super Bowl contenders. I mean, I hate to say that, but we could.
Okay, now that's a stretch. Let's calm down. But I do agree with you. Ben Johnson even said it earlier before the season started. We're not going to be playing our best ball, September and October and November, but come December and January, we are going to be peaking. And if that is the case and they are peaking right then, that is what you want. You don't want to peak early and you don't want to kind of peak in the middle. You want to peak towards the end where you're really heading into the playoffs and the end of your schedule is where you want to really hit form. Because if you hit too early, it's not going to last. It really isn't. It's going to eventually come to an end and you can get demoralized. You really want to keep steadily progressing up. And then when you get to the end, it's just, you know what type of level of football you can play week in and week out. And I think they're on a good trajectory for it. But like I said, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. These are actually some games coming up where we're going to be playing.
They're tough ones.
After this game, it's a lot of, you're going to be playing those 500 and above teams. And that's what we're really going to see what we're made of. But you do got to take care. This is a must win in the fact that you need to win the game. There should not be any reasons you lose this game.
Yeah. And I'm sure Ben Johnson's doing a good job because we're getting crazy talking, down the line here. I'm sure he's thinking one game at a time, keeping
100%.
focused on one game at a time. And that's the key to leadership, right? Is you keep them focused on what's in front of them, win it, and then we move on to the next round. So it could be in a Bears fan right now.
Yeah, it definitely, for the past years, 5, 6, 7 years, it's definitely been hard to be a
40.
Bears fans. Well, no, don't go that far. There's been good seasons.
Going that far.
Like the last good season we had was in 2018, and we all know what happened when the playoffs came in that game. But
double doing.
Besides that, after that, it's been downhill, and it's not been there's not been a lot of games like I watched last week in person where you're absolutely jumping off your seat. Crazy things are happening. It's just, it is fun. And there definitely is a belief. And it's not just the Bears. The whole city of Chicago sports is taking a turn right now. The Blackhawks are winning. They're in a positive streak. The Bulls just lost yesterday, but they're 6-2. Obviously the Cubs, they were just in the playoffs, one game away from the divisional round, and then off to the World Series.
They didn't make a big splash at the trade deadline either, and I wonder, does that impact us?
Well, let's finish that show off with that before we get into our MVPs, because the trade deadline is a little tricky. We can maybe even talk about some of the trades that went around, but first let's just talk about the Bears side of it. the Bears, Ben Johnson made it very clear in his presser that they were very active. It's just it seems like the prices that the draft capital you would have to give up was too steep.
It was like
And
inflation at the grocery store.
yeah. And I'm glad. Ryan Poles has usually traded pretty heavily at the deadline in years prior, but you can see Ben Johnson. He has a say in a lot of this stuff because he probably was like, if we can give up anything fourth or higher, I'm okay with it. Anything above, then no, we don't need it. I think too, the main part about this season, like we're kind of talking about, it's establishing that identity and that culture going forward. And I think so far the culture has definitely been established, but you got to keep it. You lose a couple games in a row, it could change. But they're definitely going to need to. They're going to need to keep building on this culture. And I agree. I was happy with them not going for some splash plays, the only way I would be if it was one of those bigger names like a Crosby. I didn't even like the Trey Hendrickson because of his age, but outside of that, I was totally fine with what they did because you don't need to. We're not 100% a playoff team, and you don't want to make a splash play like that without not having the playoffs because then you can get in some trouble. And speaking of seeing some of those trades that went on, multiple first round picks given up. That is just idiotic to me, especially. I mean, the main one is the Colts. Sauce Gardner, I'm sorry, you are not worth 2 first-round picks. I don't even think he's worth 1 first-round pick.
Nope.
And the Colts just did that. And this is Daniel Jones' first 9 games.
Daniel Jones.
Exactly. At any moment, you can see it plummet with him. It's kind of the same thing with Sam Darnold last year. He played good, and then guess what? He came to the playoffs, and he looked like same old Sam Darnold. You really never know what could happen. And giving up 2 first-round picks, they better hope Daniel Jones is a guy because if he's not, you're not getting another quarterback to come in there. Now you're stuck with him for 2 more years after this. And you better hope, credit to Daniel Jones, he has been playing well. Yeah. He's got the Colts playing really good football. They have that first seed in the AFC side as of right now. So he is playing well. But like you said, we've seen quarterbacks like that play good for a period of time and then they go back to their old ways. So some of the trades that were going down for first round picks, it was crazy.
Yeah, I think they were crazy, but too, I look at some of the things that we needed, right? And at the end of the day, none of those trades happened with any other team out there. So that just tells me that either A, the price was too high, like inflation, or B, those options weren't on the table. So I'm okay with what Ryan Poles did in the trade deadline, but you do have to bring it up because you did mention the Cubs and they didn't make a big splash at the trade deadline, and that kind of hurt in the long run. But we'll see. We got the Bears. We got Caleb Williams. We got DeAndre Swift. We got Colston Loveland. Luther Burden's back this week. Cole Kmet's back. I mean, it should be pretty good.
Yeah, no, it definitely should be good. And I'm glad we didn't take a splash at all. It's definitely, you don't need to. We need to slow our horses down. As excited as we are getting about maybe being a postseason team, there's a long way to go. And if you make a splash play like that and don't make the playoffs, you set stuff behind. And I think Ben Johnson, it's pretty clear he has a huge say in what Ryan Poles is doing and helping. At least he's helping him with this process. Where in the past, Matt Eberflus was not telling Ryan Poles what to do or, hey, let's do this. I don't like that. No, Ben Johnson's definitely been given his input, and you can see it. And I think it's smart. It's a good relationship to have.
Yeah. He's like the voice of reason.
Yeah. So we'll definitely see what happens. But let's hop into our final segment in our pregame shows with our defensive and offensive MVPs and our score predictions. I'll let you kick it off first.
Defense, Tyreek Stevenson. I'm riding that horse like Seabiscuit. I'm never letting him go. Especially now that he's back in, he's healthy. I think he gets a pick in this one. Definitely do, especially with that weather going on a little. And on the lake too, when that weather's coming in, that ball gets a little squirrely. So I think that works to the Bears' advantage. To definitely get a pick, maybe a pick 6 with Tyreek Stevenson. And then I'm gonna go on the offensive side of the ball. I'm gonna go Theo. Right, this is a big test for him. and he's been having a good round. But I think, what he's got to go with against on that defensive side of the ball, I think he's going to be good and not give up a sack coming from his side of pressure. So those are my two.
Yeah, I do like Theo. The one thing that it has been getting unnoticed, he's really good in the run game, but passing game, he does continue to keep struggling.
Yeah.
He's consistently been our lowest pass grade blocker, which I mean it is a good O line. Now we actually have people out there, so it's definitely one thing he needs to work on. But run blocking though, he's been great in my opinion. I like that. If I have to go defensive, I'm gonna go with let's see for the defense. I'm gonna go with Austin Booker. I like what I saw last week. He's getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback and got a strip sack as well. That was a huge turnover for the Bears. But I'm gonna go with Austin Booker. I think he keeps riding that engine. I can see him maybe getting another strip sack in here. Jaxson Dart has fumbled quite a bit, especially not even just with him in the pocket, but even when he takes off with that ball, he does not control that ball. He has pretty loose ball security, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to go with Austin Booker. I can see him having maybe a couple of sacks in this game, to be honest.
Ooh.
So super excited to see him get back at it. Maybe another strip sack, fumble, force fumble, something in there. And then for the offensive, I'm going to go with Kyle Monangai. Coming off a big week last week, I think he's going to continue to have, very well established excellence in this game of just hard fought running. And the DeAndre Swift thing kind of scares me with the personal thing. I'm assuming he's going to end up playing. But with what Kyle Monangai has shown on tape, I think we're going to start seeing a little bit of transition here. Not so much as DeAndre Swift's not going to get as many carries. I just think the primary back in the beginning, when it's, 1st and 10 and you need those hard yards, I feel like it is going to be Monangai going forward because this guy, he's not the fastest, but he knows how to be. He's a very small. He can hide behind these linemen. And then when he does make contact, he gets those extra 3-4 yards that DeAndre Swift doesn't get. And I think we're going to start to see the balance, kind of like how the Lions have with Jahmyr Gibbs, where Jahmyr Gibbs still gets running plays, but he's mostly going to catch balls out of the backfield, those outside zone runs. I think that's kind of the role that's going to start taking place. Because if you notice too, even last week, it wasn't a lot of runs to the outside. It was Kyle Monangai right up the middle. When DeAndre Swift is in there, it's a lot of outside stuff, which is what he should be used for. So I think we are going to get to see Kyle Monangai it's going to be a pretty more split reps, I think, going forward. But I got Kyle Monangai. I think he's going to have another monster day. And this time he is going to find the end zone, unlike last week. He had a lot of yards, but ultimately didn't get a touchdown in there.
Yeah, like I know you were at the game last week and you weren't able to answer my text on this, but Monangai reminds me of Kareem Hunt. What do you think?
Kareem Hunt, that's an interesting one.
When I watch that game, I watched his running style and how he was patient and picked the holes he went into. All I could think of is prime Kareem Hunt when he was with the Chiefs the first time, and that's exactly what he reminds me of.
I don't know what he reminds me of, to be honest, but the thing I do like about him, and it's seeing it in person, like I see it on TV, but seeing it in person was crazy in my opinion. Like he his cuts that he has in these games in person, that's the thing I like about him. It's not oh, I think I'm gonna cut. No, he puts his foot in the ground and he makes people miss so easily with the way he cuts in and out. So I'm super excited to keep seeing him going. I'm trying to think of who he reminds me of.
Go
I think
watch some of those first years of Kareem Hunt with the Chiefs, and I'm telling you, it's the same body language, everything about it just screams Kareem Hunt to me.
yeah, he's just super, like, people don't give him a lot of credit. He's not that fast, but dude, his cuts and his shifts and change of direction is pretty crazy. And he had a bunch of them in that game last week where he's just putting his foot in the ground and see you later. If he did have the speed, this guy would be a dangerous back, because last week there was a couple of times multiple times he was one broken tackle away and he was gone. So I think that is the thing with him. That is a downside. He doesn't have the breakaway speed, but he is a hard fought runner, and that's what the Bears have been needing. We need our Matt Forte type of guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with that being said, big game ahead of us, right? Going against the Giants, 2-7. They're obviously depleted on their offense with Scadaboo out, Malik Neighbors out. If we win, and we win decisively, are you starting to lean towards 14-3?
Not yet. I gotta let me see.
You got to wait till we're 13-3, and then you're like, yeah, we can do it.
No. I just want to see. I want to see the Vikings game. I want to see us play again against them and to actually close out a game, not let them back into it. And I want to see us against the Steelers and the Eagles, both of them, to be honest.
I'm not worried about the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, their defense, they made a switch last week. They put Jalen Ramsey back at safety instead of corner, and their defense looked like a Steelers defense. They're taking the ball away, and they weren't just taking the ball away from a bad team. It's the Colts who are in first place over there. It looked a lot different. We'll see. I definitely don't want to see some couple more games against some 500 teams, though, because to be fair, we have been taking advantage of some of the players that are some of the teams that, you're supposed to beat. So not take anything away from the Bears, but I need to see a little bit more from some of these better teams. But I do like where it's trending for sure. Now,
absolutely.
14-3. No, I don't think I'll ever get to that point.
Come on.
But I can see them hit if they fully peak and hit their thing. I could see 11 to 12 wins in here for sure.
And what was your initial prediction?
10-7.
10-7. I was 15-2. So we got 5 games in between us. So I basically got to hit 13 wins
to beat me. And if the Bears are 12 and I mean, I'm looking pretty good right now. You're a long shot, but you're still in there.
That just means I'm a real Bears fan. I believe. I believe in monsters. It's going to be good. And going back to the Steelers game for a second here. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have many years left in him. I think this is the game where he comes into Chicago and he thinks he's going to do the discount double check, and Dennis Allen and that defense is going to buy back their shares of stock from him.
Yeah. I mean, Kyler Gordon will be back for that game too. He's expected to be back. So he's going to miss this game and then he'll miss again the following week, but he will be back for that Steelers game, which would be good. But nonetheless, like I said, this is another reason these next couple of games you do got to win them, because once the defense does get back to full strength, it could be dangerous, and you want to stack these games now. But man, it's definitely been a fun season. But we're not even halfway. After tomorrow, we'll be halfway. So, but I think we didn't even do our score predictions. I'll go first. Since the Juju's over, I can say whatever now. It doesn't really matter. I got the Bears winning. I'm gonna say like a 31-17 type game.
Ooh. I have a lower scoring game just because I'm looking at that weather forecast. So I'm gonna say like a 21-14.
21-14. Well, the thing is that's crazy is they just run the ball so good that I just really think they can still get up in those 30s. Maybe a pick six is in there, stuff along those lines. We'll see. I do feel like a good. Before we end this, I'll leave stuff out here for some of the people out there that maybe like to do some sports betting.
They're given 4.5 points.
I will never mess with the Bears money line. It's my one rule. I'll never bet on the Bears. I will do player props, however. If you can go find some Luther Burden, DJ Moore rush yards out there, I would take them. I can see a lot of jet sweeps in this game with that weather, a lot of different crafty ways to get the ball into these runners' hands. But I do see that Luther Burden, DJ Moore, some speed options, Zacchaeus even. I think there's going to find different ways to get everyone rushing in this game. And I feel like that's definitely going to be a key thing in this game. So we'll see.
Is there an over-under on trick plays? Or
I don't think there's
designer plays.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of trick plays in this game. Not with that weather.
I think the weather, you just got to stick to basic football.
No, this is not a game. with this weather, this is not a game where you get cute and try to do some trickery stuff. Yeah, definitely not, especially with the wind. When you usually a trick play involves a non-quarterback throwing the ball to somebody. No, I don't want to take no chances with that. There's no need to get cute against this team as well. Like you don't need to do anything too crazy. Now you can do a bunch of reverse handoffs where it's simply just tossing the ball, like stuff like that, but I would not do any trickery at all.
All right. Well, Bears
Yep.
win it is.
I was about to say, you said 21-14.
21-14,
I said 30,
low scoring
31.
game.
I said 31-17. Maybe 28-17. That sounds a little bit better.
Yeah, the weather is creeping in your head now.
Yeah. We will see what happens, though. That'll do it for our pregame show. As always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the follow button. All of our social medias are down in the description if you want to check out some good content. I did post my live reaction from the game on our TikTok. It's up to about 20,000 views and counting. Pretty cool video to look at if you want to see a live reaction at the game and hear how loud the stadium was. But as always, we'll catch you on the post-game show, hopefully with the Bears victory. But until then, bear down.